Welcome to the 2021 Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship. I'm Sara Nicholson, founder of Throw Pink, and I'm here to lead you through the 2021 course layout. Hole 1 is a par 3, 283 feet. There's a mandatory to the right and to the left, just off the tee pad. You'll also find 2 boulders placed in front of the tee, as well as an intentionally placed down tree. This is the first shot of the championship. Players' nerves are on the line. They just got their names announced off the tee pad, and now they need to throw a perfectly straight shot that's neither high nor low to get to the basket to get a birdie on their first hole of the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship. Hole 2 is a par 4, 534 feet. It plays slightly uphill. The players have out of bounds on the left to contend with, as well as out of bounds on the right. It's a beautifully framed fairway, but there's also low-hanging trees as you approach this open fielded area here. The play for most of the players is to punch it straight up the middle and try to land somewhere to the left there in front of that out of bounds parking lot area. Once they land there, the hope is to hyzer it in and attack the green on their second shot so that they're putting for an easy birdie on their third shot. This is one of the easier par 4s on the course, and to walk away with anything more than a 3 is potentially losing strokes to most of the field. Hole 3 is a par 3. It is 389 feet. This is a beautiful and fun elevated tee pad to throw from and watch players throw from. The road we're passing here is out of bounds. If the players land on the road or fail to clear the road, they're going to be re-teeing. To the left is hazard, and newly added this year along the tree line is also hazard. This is our first hole in the course that we've come to with hazard. The difference between the hazard and the out of bounds is the hazard, you take 1 penalty stroke and you play it from where the disc lies. Hole 4 is a par 4. It is 381 feet with a low ceiling that you have to contend with off of your first shot with trees on either side. So there is a bit of a gap you have to hit as you're punching it through this slightly uphill shot. Power is not the play here. Precision and accuracy are more important. You want to land somewhere in here if you can, to where you're able to easily navigate that mandatory to the left here and put yourself in good contention to get a putt at the basket on your third shot. You want to be too long because the path is OB, or too short because you don't want to contend with those cypress trees. Hole 5 is a par 5, 794 feet. A notable difference in the women's design from the men's is the mandatory around the corner has been taken out for the women, giving them 2 options to attack the green. It's a change that Andrew made last year, and I love it. I love a hole where you have options. It's fun to watch, it's fun to play. Some of the women will punch it down, lay up, and then attack the green over the water on their third shot. Some will play straight down the fairway, take the turn, and try to hit the green to save par on the outside. Notably, according to UDisc, there was 1 eagle on this layout in the women's field last year. I sure would love to see one this year. Hole 6 is a par 3. It's 282 feet. It may be short, but it's certainly not easy. It's known to the longtime fans at home as the beach hole because of the sand that surrounds the basket. The play on this hole is to throw something low and hyzer in easy to the sandy area and avoid going OB in the wetlands. Hole 7 is a par 3, 284 feet. This is the famous bamboo hole. To get to the basket, you have to navigate the triple mandatory that is framed by the bamboo poles. This concrete culvert here that we're passing is actually in bounds until you get to the mandatory line that crosses along where the bamboo is. These players, 9 times out of 10, are going to hit this gap in a casual round, but in the middle of the championship, who knows? Hole 8 is a par 5. It is 697 feet. This is a beautiful hole. I come out here quite frequently to work on my distance and accuracy and shot shaping. It is just a lot of fun to be on this hole. But back to what the women are going to do. On their first shot, they're going to want to land somewhere right around in here. Keep in mind the tall grass on the left is out of bounds. The ball field on the right is out of bounds. That giant yellow pole is a mandatory, so you can't go up and around. You have to navigate through this tight little tunnel to get to the basket. I've seen this hole eagled before. It is not easy. It is very impressive. Most of the ladies are going to walk away here with a par, but most of the field will get a birdie. Hole 9 is one of the holes that changed from last year. It's coming in at a par 3 this year. Last year it was a par 4, and according to UDisc, averaged 1 over par for every single round that the women played. I think the ladies that played last year are going to be excited about this change, because coming in at 316 feet, it's a very attackable green and a very gettable birdie. There is a lot of OB to contend with, so it's not going to be easy. Hole 10 is a par 4. It is 549 feet. The women's tee has been moved back to where the men tee from this year. Hole 10 is my favorite hole on the course because it is the throw pink hole, because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the 10th month of the year, the 10th hole on the course. I'm excited to see what the women are going to do this year with the new tee placement. Hole 11 is a par 4 at 598 feet. The play on this hole with the hazard to the left and the OB beyond the shrubs on the right is just a layup here in front of this first hazard area to have a nice safe position to approach the green on your second shot. With the hole being 130 feet closer this year, I think we'll see more birdies and potentially more eagles if the women get brave on their second shot. Hole 12, par 5, 901 feet. Don't forget about that 1 foot. That's really probably going to make the difference here. Some notable changes this year. The women are playing from 300 feet further back than they played last year. That sidewalk there is actually in bounds, but a lot of the other stuff is not. Last year it played as a hazard, but it's now playing as an OB. With that tee pad we just passed is the drop zone should you end up in the out of bounds off the drive. From the drop zone you have another 325 feet to navigate to this sloping green. The parking lot there is out of bounds, and if it's a windy day, trust me, you don't want to be putting uphill or downhill. Hole 13, par 4, 722 feet. I love this hole. Just look at that elevated tee. This hole is gorgeous. I feel bad for the guys because they don't get to play this hole. Notable change, last year it was sidewalk and beyond was out of bounds. This year Andrew has moved the out of bounds just up to the edge of the parking lot, and I love that. I hope that that encourages more women to get crazy and try to go over the parking lot to attack the basket. This is a fun hole and I can't wait to play it. Hole 14 is a par 3, 261 feet. You can go to the left or the right of that tree. The play for most righty backhand players is just to do the big hyzer to the right of that tree, but you have to be very careful because it is a sloping green with hazard behind it and an elevated basket. Not something you want to be putting at on a day where you're not feeling confident about your putts. Hole 15 is a par 4. It's 467 feet. And now the players are going to be asked to navigate a pretty tight fairway again. In addition to navigating the tight fairway, they now have to hit this triple mandatory. Yes, they've got to go between those two mandatories and below that other one. And once they get through, they're going to want to make sure that their carry is long enough to get them around this corner. You don't want to be in that brush back there because you don't have any way of attacking the green from back there. And you're going to want to get as close as you possibly can to this green on your second shot to just have a chance at birdie. It is a very, very tight green area. There are trees everywhere. And if you don't get in just the right spot where the drone's taking us here, you may be close, but you won't have a putt. Hole 16 is a par 3. It's 342 feet. This is a very gettable birdie for the majority of the field. It is a slightly elevated shot. There is a chance to pull a big sidearm if you're a right-handed player to the left of the tree. Most players will just attack it straight away and be in contention for a short putt to the basket from there. This is really the last, what dare I say, easy birdie on the course before the players head into the very challenging holes 17 and 18. Hole 17 is a par 3. It has 2 different pin placements on it, 249 feet to pin A and 254 feet to pin B. Even though pin B is a bit further, I think that the shorter one is more challenging because it plays much closer to the water. Hole 17 might be one of the scariest holes in the entire game. You have a long walk to get to it, you have a lot of time to think about it, and then you get up there and you have a lot of opportunities to mess it up. Hole 18 is a par 5. It is 647 feet. You get the tee from this really cool dock with this water carry, a beautiful winter lake. The water carry itself isn't what creates the challenge for the women on this hole. It is a sloping fairway. You want to make sure that your drive lands perfectly so you don't skip, you don't roll, you don't end up in the OB, which is on the left and is on the right. There's also a mandatory that we just passed. You've got to stay to the left. You can't take the big outside route and try to get the OB out of play. You've got to take your medicine. You got to play the fairway. Once you navigate through all that, you think, well, maybe I can relax now. But nope, look at this green. My goodness. This is one of the scariest greens in all of disc golf. 1, because it's the finishing hole of your championship. 2, because look at that drop off. There's OB if you're short, so you've got to make sure that you take a soft approach, but not too soft. But you also can't get too crazy or you're going to skip and roll out of bounds.